Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube channel, Facebook page, and X page as well. You join us a couple of hours after Celtic's 3-0 victory over Livingston at the Tony Macaroni Arena. My name is Ryan McGinley. Today, I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by Tony Haggerty. It's usually Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle. I'm so used to saying that. Shouldn't it? And first of all, we'd like to say thank you to Livingston for allowing us into their bar to do this podcast. First and foremost, we really do appreciate it. Tony, how are you doing after that?
Live from the bar, Mr. Dean Martin, as he used to say famously in Las Vegas. Yeah, we thank Livingston for letting us use their facilities. They're very kind, but yeah, I think most Celtic supporters will be delighted that it was a happy Easter Sunday, wasn't it? And not only did we get our predictions right, Brian, team prediction, I got the scoreline right. I said Celtic would win 3-0, so been a good day all round, I think.
Not to say that I had that prediction as well, because I didn't actually make one on the pre-match, but I did think 3-0 on my head as well. 3-0 would be a good scoreline, and it certainly was the case. Before we get started and talking about the game, we'd like to thank our sponsors once again. I will actually just bring them up onto the screen right now. There we go, mphboilers.co.uk, and I will just read this. We'd like to talk about something that's key to keeping our homes warm and cosy. We're thrilled to have Weissman, a global leader in the boiler industry, known for their top-notch German engineering, sponsor our podcast, which is the Celtic Way podcast. And what's more exciting, they've teamed up with Scotland's very own award-winning installation team, MPH Boilers, making this a perfect match right here in Scotland. Weissman's boilers are engineered to deliver not just warmth, but unparalleled efficiency and reliability. We're talking about cutting-edge technology that's designed to save you on energy bills and reduce emissions. And with MPH Boilers, you know you're getting service from the best in the business, a local team that's committed to excellence and customer satisfaction. As part of this incredible partnership, when you choose a Weissman boiler installed by MPH Boilers, you'll also get a free internet controller, making it a breeze to manage your heating anytime, anywhere. Plus, they're offering the first year service free. It's all about giving you peace of mind and making sure you're looked after. So if your boiler is showing its age or you're considering an upgrade, this is your chance to get world-class engineering with local expert service. Weissman and MPH Boilers is a match made in Scotland. Make sure to check them out and take the first step towards a warmer, more efficient home. And we thank MPH Boilers and Weissman both for sponsoring this video. And very quickly, before we talk about the events that happened this afternoon, 6 months of access on the Celtic Way. Get plenty of content on there from this afternoon. We've got instant analysis from Tony. We've also got detailed player ratings from myself. So there's 2 bits of premium content already on there for you to view if you sign up just now. 6 months of access for only £1. That'll keep you going until the end of September, right up to deadline day or just after deadline day, a month after, actually, because it's the end of August, start of September. Also, if you subscribe to us, you'll get a free Kyogo Furuhashi print from renowned football artist made by Frankie. She's worked with the likes of Manchester United and the Scotland national team. So if you are interested in getting a free print made by Frankie, then please visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe and get involved. And we thank everybody that's joined us thus far on the website. Tony, if I can just bring this back down. Yes. Tony, 3-0 Celtic. It was a first half that, I think despite Celtic maybe blowing hot and cold a little bit, their performance was deserving of a goal, even though it didn't come. And they were really strutting their stuff, even though they didn't get that breakthrough until the second half. What did you make of things? First of all, looking at the team and how that team reacted, and how the team reacted on the pitch with John Kennedy obviously taking the team. And how did you feel like they did in the first half? Because I thought they were good, and the only thing they didn't do was not score.
I have to say, there's been games this season where Celtic have struggled to break down the opposition, and they've gone long periods, i.e. maybe not scored in the first half. I never felt like that at any stage today, that Celtic weren't going to get that victory. I thought they were excellent in the first half, just their final ball was lacking in the first half. And I'm sure we'll talk about it, but they're denied a Stonewall penalty, Ryan, as well. Yeah. We spoke about it at the time when we were at the game. So you can't, I don't know what Don Robertson and Alan Muir are seeing there, and how Don Robertson wasn't directed to the VAR screen is beyond my comprehension. I really do need to hear from Don Robertson and Alan Muir as to what they were seeing, because I really don't know. The only way it's inexplicable, and the only way we'll get an explanation is either of those two guys speak.
Yeah, I think the one thing they didn't see is the fact that it was a Stonewall penalty, which is probably more of the question that I would be asking as to how they didn't see it, because I think Kyogo's quite clearly taken from behind. The challenge is taken. He's down on the ground. He's actually hobbling after getting the challenge on him. And there wasn't even a call for Don Robertson to go and check the VAR or to check the monitor. I thought at the very least send over. That's probably more on Alan Muir that he didn't see that there was more in that. Well, it's Don Robertson as well, because he didn't see the original challenge as being enough to warrant a penalty, and then Alan Muir didn't think there was enough to bring them over. So it's like,
and I don't want the chat to be about that, but it's a big talking point from the first half. Another big talking point from the first half, moving on from that, is you were purring of the fact that Rio Hatate returned, and my goodness, what a performance that was. I was hoping he would just kind of ease himself back in. He eased himself back in with almost that man of the match performance from the 65 minutes that he was on. You can argue the toss if Kuhn was better or Iwata was better even. But what is telling is that when Rio Hatate's on the park, Matt O'Reilly becomes a better player as well, because he realises he doesn't have to do it all himself.
Yeah.
And he relaxes on it and he allows it to flow naturally. And we spoke at the time, Rio Hatate just plays with his head up. He's always looking for a run, a killer pass. He's always looking to be productive and creative going forward. And for a guy to come back into the team, and I think he could have played the 90 minutes, but it was sensible management, giving him 65 and taking them off, because we know what's coming next week. But I think he was desperate to play the 90 minutes, to be honest, because he was enjoying himself. Yeah. And he has boundless energy as well, which was great. I loved that all about him today.
If there's one game that I want Rio Hatate to be playing 90 minutes in, it wouldn't probably be today, because I thought the game was over. Well, to be fair, it was 1-0 when he came off, and Bernardo, with his second or third touch, he scored, which was an absolutely sublime finish from Bernardo. Talk about taking your chance, taking your opportunity when it comes. He's on the bench, shows great attitude to come on and make a difference, and it was great to see that from him. I just want to talk about, if you allow me, the floor, the space to talk about Hatate. There was a point in the first half in particular where he's asking for the ball, but he's not asking to touch the ball. He's only asking for the ball to be in and around his area, and he manages to dummy it to someone. I'm not sure if it's Alistair Johnson or Nicholas Kuhn. It's just a beautiful bit of skill, and it's the guile that Celtic. It's this guile that I've been talking about. We talk about it in almost every single briefing that we do. Celtic miss a player like that when he's not in the team. He's industrious. He's busy. He's a hard worker. He gets back as well. People would think that he's a bit of a luxury player and he doesn't defend. He certainly does. Although he wasn't the only one that defended today. The likes of Nicholas Kuhn and Tomoki Iwata were putting in the hard yards too, which was absolutely brilliant to see. But Hatate was just... He should have scored the first goal. That chance that came to him just at the edge of the box from the corner. I think in a couple of weeks' time, he puts that away, no bother at all. That's him just finding his range, I think.
What about next week?
Take that. He's got history. He's got history against the team he's facing next week. So if that is the case, then if he's getting his target practice ready for next week, then I've got absolutely no complaints about that whatsoever. I don't know about you.
Celtic have the three best midfielders in the country: Rio Hatate, Callum McGregor, and Matt O'Reilly. And all three could play at Ibrox next week, all being well. And if they're all fit, they're in my team for Ibrox. And I know Tomoki Iwata hasn't done anything wrong. I know it's a huge call, but Celtic need to go and win that game. And the way you win that game is be creative against Rangers at Ibrox. If anybody's watched Rangers recently, they struggled against Motherwell, and for parts of the game against Hibernian on Saturday, they struggled a wee bit. Now, I think that's a midfield that can terrorise teams and create chances and openings. And I think it's a Celtic team that can go there and do that. And I think the likes of Kyogo can profit. I think Kuhn can profit. So it's just my head. That's, Celtic had to take care of Livingston today. They did it clinically and professionally, I thought. Thought they were really, really good today. And, professional job was done today by Celtic. Didn't panic when they went in at 0-0. Had the bulk of the play in the first half. All that was missing was a goal. That cutting edge in terms of their chance creation or the final ball into the box was lacking. We spoke about that when we were sitting in the stands. We were saying that's that final ball, but we turned to each other and said, it'll come, it's coming. And I had no doubt that Celtic were going to run out winners. And after the first goal, you turned to me and said, they look dangerous every time they got the park. They look as if they're going to score. And it was just getting that breakthrough goal, wasn't it? Fortuitous as it was, but it was no more than Celtic deserved at the time.
Yeah, I saw somebody online calling it a Benny Hill goal. You'd probably need the Benny Hill theme in the background for it. It was a lucky goal, a fortuitous goal, as we would call it. But you need to get in those positions in order to get a chance at goal. And if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle, as they say. But I think the goal, it's all Kuhn. To be honest, it's all Nicholas Kuhn. It's a ball in from Maeda. I think it just goes just outside the box. Kuhn beats his man. He does a tremendous wee bit of. I don't know if it's skill, it's fortuitous. I'm going to put it down to skill, I'll be honest. I think he meant it.
He didn't give up on it, Ryan.
No.
That's not the point.
He chased a lost cause. He chased a lost cause until it became a cause once again. And
that, for me, is the most important part about that goal. It's that attitude that Kuhn showed. The attitude that, people were saying was sadly lacking in his first couple of games, which he's explained why. But it's certainly there now. And I'm loving that, and I'm loving what Kuhn's bringing to the party, and I'm loving the fact that he's enjoying himself now as well. He looks like a confident player. He's so direct. He wants to take his man on, get to the dead ball line. He wants to try and cut inside and maybe see if he can create havoc by either taking a shot at goal. And wingers are confidence players, aren't they? And I think the guy's confidence levels are through the roof at the minute. And clearly Brendan Rodgers is saying it ain't broke. It doesn't need fixed. Just continue to do what you're doing. Keep attacking your man. You'll get joy. But that chasing of the lost causes is most important for me. You spoke about his defensive shift as well. And I'm loving that team spirit, that team collective that Celtic have got right now. And what a time for it to come.
Can I give you a quick fire question, and we might get people in the comments. I don't know, to be honest, but pound for pound, and I know that Abada's left the club to join Charlotte. I know it's a past player, but do you not think that Kuhn gives you more on that side in terms of an actual winger directing himself? I know Abada was more of a goal scorer. He showed that in his 2 seasons at the club. But do you not think you're getting more pound for pound with a guy that's going at his winger like that time after time after time? I just think it's looking like an inspired signing after a couple of dismal performances. It's got to say, although some of them, we'll put it down to the fact that he lost a bit of weight with the wisdom teeth. He's looking like a tremendous option, and more of an option that Abada looked like. I know there's mitigating factors as well that go along with Abada, but he's looking like an option at right wing now, isn't he?
He's certainly looking as if that Celtic won't rue selling Abada.
That's probably what I was meaning with that.
Yeah, I'm loath to compare the two right now because I don't have a long sample size for Kuhn, but I think in terms of a kind of straight swap, you're seeing similarities there, aren't you? And maybe once he's fully up to speed, you think that Kuhn can maybe produce a lot more than Abada, because Abada was hot and cold, but when he was hot, he tended to be hot in games when it mattered.
Roasting hot when he was on it. He was on it, and everybody knew about it.
Yeah. So, and as I say, I just like that he's bought into that work ethic, that team collective, and I thought Abada was an excellent player for Celtic and caught up in circumstances way out with and beyond his control. But there was also times where Abada could be anonymous as well in matches. So it's some players get better with age, don't they? And you miss what's not. You miss them when they're not there. That kind of thing. So, but in terms of Kuhn coming in and replacing them, then I'm seeing a lot of potential for Kuhn to fill that void. And as I said there, I don't think Celtic will rue Abada leaving if Kuhn can continue that rich vein of form that he's shown right now. And there's no reason to suggest that he can't do that, Ryan, moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's looking like a bit of a snap at 3 million, to be honest. When he plays the way that you can see him play, he does remind me of Patrick Roberts, the way he's direct. But he's got a bit more pace than Patrick Roberts would. I always think that was the one thing that was holding back Patrick Roberts from maybe even playing for Man City at that age, was his lack of killer pace. It looks as if Kuhn has got that in abundance. He looks mobile. He looks direct. He's got a goal in him. We know that. He didn't get an assist today, but he should probably get an assist for his work that led up to that goal. I know it won't go down as that statistic, but I think in the eyes of many, that will be an assist attributed to him.
What I like about him is, regardless of he's productive or produces a killer final ball, he still wanted the ball. He still wanted to go past his marker at every turn. He was hungry for the ball, and And I like that. And a couple of commenters are coming in there and saying Livingston weren't great opposition to to judge anything by, but Celtic have had problems in the past. They were clinical, they were professional, they were efficient today, and I was happy with that. Yeah, Livingston didn't bring much to the party. I get that in an attacking sense, but they're always dogged, determined, and try and make life difficult, and they did for certainly the first half. But Celtic, I still thought were worthy of winning that game by that handsome margin.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a bit of a quicker show this afternoon, as we thank the Livingston as a club for allowing us into the bar to do this podcast after it. So we'll go on for another couple of minutes, and then we'll probably just wrap it up. But into the second half, Celtic looked very, very dangerous, and they got those 3 goals. It's 3 goals that were probably deserved over the balance of the play. Livingston's goalkeeper, Shamal George, I thought had a great game, apart from maybe the 3rd goal that he could have done better with. It was David Martindale was talking about that as well in his post-match press conference, saying he probably could have done better with Matt O'Reilly's goal because it did look quite soft going in. Yeah. But 3 midfielders, 3 goals. It shows that Celtic's goals are spread out. There's not really going to be an out-and-out goal scorer that's going to have 25, 30 goals a season, but you might have a couple of players that are on 10, 15 that are spread out, and that'll accumulate to the same sort of numbers that you'd be expecting. It's good to see that the midfield is contributing like it did in Rodgers' first tenure with players like Rogic, Armstrong, Cal McGregor as well. It's good that these players are taking up that mantle. I say it's 3 goals. It was an own goal for Jamie Brandon, but it's the goals were coming from the midfield, and it's good to see that, isn't it?
Well, John Kennedy mentioned options in his post-match press conference. I know people get post-match press conference. He mentioned the word options, and he said that Celtic kind of jiggled around the front 3 recently as well, and then they put on a different front 3 at the end, didn't they? He said so they've got options all over the place, which is terrific. And I think heading into Ibrox, a manager can't ask for more.
It's options. It's options at the end of the day.
Team back eventually, right? Regardless of what your own preference is with a settled team, how good is it to sit here and say you can't drop him for him, but he could come in and do a job? You're saying, but he could also come in and do a job.
You can't drop him, but circumstances may mean that he has to be dropped, even though he doesn't deserve to be. It wouldn't be a dropping; it would just be a shift to the side because Callum McGregor's back. We're talking about Awata here, basically, aren't we? He doesn't deserve to be dropped or removed from the team, but Callum McGregor's the best midfielder in the country. So,
and if you also want to play a certain way, you might turn around and say you want to see what Yang could do against Rangers, but you wouldn't drop Kuhn at this moment in time in your own head. But managers are always horses.
Training as well.
Managers are always horses for courses, aren't they? Right? You would never dream of dropping Kyogo, but Ida could still come in and do a job, right? Mm-hmm. If needed, if you had to, that kind of thing. You look at that midfield. Bernardo's come in today. He scored. O'Reilly scored.
Sublime goal by Bernardo as well. I don't think we're giving it enough credit. It was an absolutely sublime finish from. Yep. He made the move. Yeah. Did he pass it back? Pass it to somebody? Somebody passed it back. The name escapes me. Just on the edge of the box, and you knew it was a goal the moment it went out his feet. It was a sublime finish from a player that's really taking his chance there.
So not coming on just to play a bit part, coming on and making a real impact. That's a killer goal. That wins a football match. You relax then.
That's what we were saying. We were saying Celtic need a second goal. The game is effectively over with a second goal, and they managed to do that. They managed to get the game was over as a contest with that second goal, and it was then all about rotating the team, bringing players off and putting players on.
But the point I'm making is that you have such a plethora of options now going into such a crucial game next week that it doesn't matter what permutation the manager comes up with. You trust them and you trust those players to carry out his instructions to the letter of the law, no matter what. And Celtic haven't had that luxury this season at all at any stage. But going into next week, you think to yourself, Callum McGregor comes back. That's more or less
strongest 11, isn't it?
Strongest squad that you could assemble. Mike Nawrocki, Gustav Lagerbielke, but they've not been featuring. So, that kind of thing. But even then, Mike Nawrocki was on the bench today as well. if called upon, because people are saying that they're not trusting Scales, they're not like the look of Liam Scales.
Did have a tough game against Yengi today. Although Yengi didn't get a lot of joy, there was a couple of times where I thought that Liam Scales was out muscled. Nothing came of it, but it's another team that are targeting that side because they're not going to get any joy out of Cameron Carter-Vickers. There was one point in the game where Yengi actually gets a hold of the Cameron Carter-Vickers, and then it's like, I immediately regret this decision because he's grabbing a brick wall essentially. But
pushed him away, didn't
he? Yeah. So you're not going to get any spare change from
1,000-yard stare as if, what are you doing? That kind of thing. But so it was quite a comedic moment actually. But that's what I'm saying. But if you're Brendan Rodgers and you're John Kennedy, you're looking at that today and you're thinking, the Celtic are going into Ibrox in the kind of best possible shape, because to all intents and purposes, Callum's coming back, don't you?
Yeah.
Because they're praying them for it. So it's as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna finish off the stream here just due to timing issues, but we thank everybody for joining us. We've had 250 people watching. We know that people will be celebrating their Easter Sunday in all different sorts of ways, but thank you for choosing to spend your afternoon, your early morning and the afternoon both with us. Thank you to everybody that joined us in the pre-match show. Had a bit of technical issues there with the Wi-Fi, but hopefully it stayed together for this post-match show. Always better for the post-match show than the pre-match show, yeah, especially when you're talking about a Celtic win. Thank you once again to MPH Boilers for sponsoring us on today's video. We really do appreciate them, and Weissman Boilers too. As always, Celtic Way subscription offer, or not as always, but for right now, the 6 months of access for just £1 www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. You'll get a free Kyogo Furuhashi print from Made by Frankie. Those will be shipping out very soon, I believe, so just keep an eye on that. If you want to get more content, then go to the Celtic Way website and subscribe. Get instant analysis there. We've also got detailed player ratings. We thank everybody that has joined us thus far. Is there any final thoughts that you want to say before we finish this off, Tony?
No, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's took up the subscription offer. You're very kind. We can't continue to do this without your support, and you've come out in droves and backed us, so thank you for that. Thanks to our existing subscribers who keep tuning in and logging on and coming to the channel. We really appreciate it. It's great. So yeah, but enjoy your Easter Sunday. Result dependent, always say it. Celtic 1-3-0, can't get any better than that.
Yep, and we will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. alongside Hamish from Melbourne, Australia, as we dissect this game in a little more detail, as well as preview that upcoming Glasgow derby. Just a small issue of a Glasgow derby up next for Celtic and Brendan Rodgers and John Kennedy, who was taking the game today. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest